50 states.
1 year.
Hundreds of stories. Guys, we're insane. Basically, I came up with this idea back in April as a way to share Jesus with people in a fun and personal way.
Our plan is to approach random strangers, invite them to hang out with us, and then ask them to share one piece of advice they have for our generation. This way, they get to tell their stories, we get to tell them ours, and they're reminded of how loved and important they are.
People just need to be heard.
They need to know that they are not alone and that someone is willing to listen as long as they are willing to speak. So whether it be having a photo shoot,
Going out for coffee,
Or exploring the city, we plan on just being there for people. Showing them the same love that God shows us. Taking you along with us.
so stay tuned for weekly YouTube videos, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter posts, interviews, podcasts, and more.
and remember to tell your story because someone's listening.
Hello!
Hi, friend. You could give our generation one piece of advice. What would it be?
My piece of advice to our generation would be don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Things like anxiety and depression and mental illness in general are really prevalent, and we've gotten better about talking about it, but it's almost become like a joke and people don't really take it seriously. I feel like we all need to be open about it and willing to talk about it and share about it, because when we open up to people, that's when things start to get better. God's always going to be there for us, but I think we also need other people. And if we're just trying to go through it on our own and like we're internalizing all of that and cutting off from people, that's when it starts to get darker and harder to go through. And I know that's what happened to me. Don't be afraid to open up to people and to talk about what you're going through. And don't be afraid to like show who you are, even though that's cliche and everybody says it and it's kind of hard to do. When you find the right people, it's going to be easier. Once you start to open up and show people who you are is when you start to realize that you're worthy of love and that you're capable of loving others.
My one piece of advice to this generation would be that in order to love someone else, you have to love yourself first. I learned that the hard way in multiple occasions. I think a lot of us get caught up in the idea of love, whether it be romantic or with friendships or even our parents, our family. We get so caught up with the idea of having this like picture perfect life. Somewhere along the way it becomes some sort of acting job, and I caught myself doing that for years, and I was just so stuck in like, oh, okay, so like this is what I should say, this is what I should do for people to like me. That wasn't the case. Like I just had to learn how to love who I am and love the person that God made me. And once I realized that I was great the way that I was able to get to a point in my life where I knew what I deserved and I knew what I wanted for the first time. Like I never knew what I truly wanted. I was just like, well, he's cute, like they seem like cool friends or whatever, like whatever the situation may be. Once I realized that, I was able to separate from that and distance myself from that and lean into God and ask him to show me the type of people that should be in my life, and it all worked out. Like now I have great people in my life and I have a good relationship with my parents, so I'm really like thankful for that I was able to realize my worth and find people that saw that worth in me as well. So.
Okay, my one piece of advice for our generation is to be brave. One thing that I heard in the movie, what movie was it?
We Bought a Zoo.
Yeah, We Bought a Zoo. In that movie, he said that it only takes I don't know if it's actually 5 seconds, but it takes 5 seconds of bravery to do something really awesome. And the reason that I think so many people should take it into account is a lot of times we live in a state of fear and we're afraid of just breaking the boundary even a little bit, and then we end up holding ourselves back from a lot of amazing things that could happen in your life. So I think it's something that everyone should know and everyone should go by, is just to be brave, even if it's for a second. Do things that scare you, because that's when the amazing things happen and that's when your story really starts. I really just started to understand that being brave isn't that hard, but once you're over it, you really step into the big things that make a difference in your life. Ew!